Hola mis queridos, Melissa aquí, and today I am going to be painting my favourite director, writer, producer of all time, Mr. Guillermo del Toro. Now, I have already produced a collection from my favourite film of his, Pan's Labyrinth, that regrettably I didn't film, but here's the collection. It's on my Twitter and Instagram if you ever want to have a closer look. I'm just going to forewarn you, this is a passion project and I will be talking an awful lot about Guillermo del Toro and how much I love him during this video. But to the art side of things, the colours that I'm using today are Mars Black, Titanium White, Brilliant Red, Olive Green, Ultramarine Blue, Grey and Gold. I've chosen these colours based on the colour palette of the film Pan's Labyrinth. I know they're not traditional pairings, but I love the aesthetic of that film and it's a nod to Guillermo. So on the art side, these are my new acrylic paints. Some of you might have preferred my watercolour pieces, but for me personally, acrylic is the one. It's often seen as a beginner's paint, but I just think it's fab. It dries quickly and I'm the messiest artist you'll ever meet. I'm constantly smudging by leaning in paint because no matter how many times I paint, I will never learn to go from left to right. So a paint that dries crazy fast is useful for me. I love its vibrancy. It covers over mistakes well, which again is great for me. But what I love most about it is its texture. It creates this rough, ridged texture depending on how you paint with it. But I try and aim for that chunkiness. A lot of artists will try and avoid visible brushstrokes in their work, but I deliberately try to create them. I like the texture and the look that texture then gives the painting. And in the vein of realness and texture, I shall segue back to Guillermo, forewarning you that if Guillermo del Toro is not your thing, you might want to mute this from here on in. There's some severe fangirling incoming. So the textures and the realness is one of the reasons why I love Mr. del Toro. I'm not saying he never uses it, because sometimes there really is no way around it. But wherever possible, Del Toro will always use makeup and prosthetics over CGI and VFX. This is just a matter of personal taste, but I'd rather see a rubbish prosthetic over the best CGI. Not that Del Toro's prosthetics are rubbish. Far from it. They're always incredible. It's genuinely like this man has a hard line to my brain to create the perfect films for me. Even before I really took an interest in directors when I was a teen, I was in love with several of his films. Blade 2, the Hellboy movies, Pan's Labyrinth of course. When The Shape of Water came out, I lost my mind. He's worked on the Hobbit trilogy, he made Pacific Rim. He's just incredible. Think of any major blockbuster, he's probably been involved in it some way or another. And even though I know he was just 3D scanned for Death Stranding, it was still amazing to see him in that game. It was a shame that him and Hideo Kojima didn't get to work on the Silent Hills games, so it was nice to see that they still did something together. His house is full of like the hugest collection of the coolest stuff and film memorabilia. Basically, this guy is an awesome dude, and this video is very much a love letter. You don't have to listen to me, I won't be offended if you've just muted it, but I have to give the man credit. He is the best director in the world, and that's why I painted him today. I'm sorry you had to listen to my Del Toro rant for 4 minutes, but I like to talk about the people I admire and draw inspiration from. I hope you enjoyed, even if you did have to mute it, and thank you so much for watching.